Okay. So, in the last class I had discussed about the solid state. So, today we will continue the same. Okay. So, for this the reference book is NCERT book. So, you will follow the NCERT textbook. Okay. So, last class I had discussed about general characteristics of solid state, that then the amorphous and crystalline solid. Now, what is amorphous and crystalline solid? Regarding to that, one important question is there on the page number one important difference in between the crystalline and amorphous state is there. If you follow the differences, then it will at the same time it mention the characteristics. So, look at the differences. So, I am starting from the first definite characteristics geometrical shape. Now, about geometrical shape we have a primary knowledge. Geometrical state we have a primary knowledge, that is, if it is a rectangle, then the 4 points should be in a distance that it maintains the distance in between these is equal and distance in between these 2 points is equal. Now, when this same pattern is followed in a structure, that is in a structure of any compound, especially the ionic compound and also the some covalent compounds, then it is called as crystallography. Now, here the definite characteristics and geometrical shape, that is, these distances must be equal when it is a crystalline solid, but in case of amorphous solid, now to study about the crystallography, it is not only limited to the 2-dimensional space, it is limited to 3 dimension. So, when there is a 3 dimension, there is A, B and C, 3 bond lengths and the angle in between these 3 axes. Okay. So, suppose these are the points, and when these will extend to 3 dimension, then it forms the total crystal, the structure in the 3 dimension. Now, I am telling about this distance A, B and C. Okay. So, the distance from this point, suppose this is x and this is y. Okay. This is capital A, capital B and capital C. Now, the distance in between x and c is a, and it will retain the same bond length. And it will retain the same bond length when we will extend to 3 dimension. When we will extend to 3 dimension, it will retain its bond length. Okay. So, x, this is A. In the same way, when this is another one point of x, then it would also be the same one. So, this is the crystallography. Now, next one point, in case of amorphous solid, it is irregular in shape. So, what does it indicate? That the distance, that is A, B, C, etc., which is represented in the small letter, it must not be same throughout the crystal structure. It must not be same, and the angle in between these axes must not be same. So, here 2 kinds of crystal, one is crystalline, another one is amorphous. Now, the crystalline solid has definite shape, but amorphous solid does not having some definite shape due to differences in their bond length and also in bond angle. Okay. Now melting point, obviously the crystalline solid have a sharp melting point for case of NaCl, KCl, etc. But in case of amorphous solids, there is a range of temperature when it melts, because there is the bond is not of same time and also the angle is not same. So, when the bond length and the bond angle is not follows the same order, then it would be called as a amorphous solid, and it will not follow the sharp melting point. There is a range of melting point. First of all, it will melt, it will soften, and then it will melt. Next one, heat of fusion. The heat of fusion in case of crystalline solid is definite. Anisotropy. Anisotropy and isotropy, what is this property? Suppose okay, just draw a picture in 3 dimension. This is a 3-dimensional shape. Now, this is point, assume this point. Now, when we will move a distance from this point, we get the same point. This is A, this is also A. The distance is A. Now, when we will move the same distance throughout the another one axis, then we meet another one point. This is also A. So, these points that we found after covering a distance from a fixed point, same A, we have travelled A, we got A, here we travelled A, we got A. So, when we will get a same point, this is called anisotropy. Anisotropy what is? So, when we will meet a different point, or suppose after going a distance, that is A dash, we meet another one point which is not A, which is different. So, this is called isotropy. So, look at this, anisotropic in nature, that is crystalline solid in anisotropic in nature. Why? Because the crystal point follows an uniform distribution throughout the crystal, so that the bond length and the bond angle remains the same, not like the amorphous solid. For this amorphous solid is called as isotropic in nature, very important. Okay, now order in arrangement of constituent particles, long range order. Long range order, that means I am speaking about this. Suppose we have travelled another one distance from this point A, we will meet again the same point A. So, in the same way, when we will move to the another one distance along the another one axis, then if we travelled A, we will got A. So, when the uniformity in the distribution of a same point is observed through a long distance or through a crystal, then it is called as long range order, which is followed in the crystalline solid. Okay, now next one, classification of crystalline solid. Crystalline solid. Now, in class 11, you have studied about some of its crystal, that is one of it is sulfur, its monoclinic or rhombic shape, PCl5. These are also covalent in nature, but these solids are also under a class of the solid. So, look at this classification of crystalline solid. The crystalline solid can be classified on the basis of nature of intermolecular forces operating in them into 4 categories. What are the categories? That is molecular, ionic, next to is one is covalent and metallic. Covalent and then metallic. Okay. So, crystalline solid are differentiated into 4 class: molecular solid, ionic solid, covalent solid, metallic solid. Now, look at the molecular solid. So, from the name, what is molecule? So, when a molecule itself form a solid structure is called as molecular solid. So, what are the example? One example is non-polar molecular solid. Non-polar molecular solid. The examples are argon, helium. Argon, helium. These are molecular solid. Okay. Now, the same characteristics is observed also here. Next one, polar molecular solid, like solid sulfur dioxide, solid NH3. NH3 sulfur dioxide. These are also under molecular solid, but polar molecular solid. Next one, hydrogen bonded molecular solid, that is example of H2O. This is hydrogen bonded. So, 3 class 1, 2 and 3. This is non-polar, this is polar molecular solid, and this is hydrogen bonded molecular solid. So, here you should remember the types by name, that is it is a polar molecular solid, it is non-polar, and it is hydrogen bonded molecular solid, because from there the assertion reason type question may come from here, will goes with these properties of the molecular solid. Next one, ionic solid. So, we already know about ionic solid, that is NaCl, KCl, etc. These are under ionic solid. What is the force involved here? Is electrostatic. NaCl, that is 2 kinds of, one is delta plus, another one is delta minus. These forms a crystalline structure. This is ionic solid. Next is the covalent solid or network solid. It forms a giant molecular shape. For example, the diamond, graphite, these are under covalent solid. This is also another name is there for covalent solid. This is network solid, covalent or network. Why this is network? Because if you follow the structure of a suppose the structure of graphite, it is a layered shape. Suppose this is one layer. So, again a fixed distance apart, there is also one same layer. The distance is 340 pm. There is a same kind of layer. So, this layer structure produces a large network producing the covalent solid. Next one, the metallic solid, that the metals, basically the structure of metal, that is iron, copper, these are under the metallic solid, that is metal. What is the forces involved here? What is the forces involved here? Here the forces is the just of free electron. This is the bonding in between the d electron or the free electron. These free electrons from an bonding in between the metal particles or metal atom. So, these are the different kinds of crystal. Again, I am giving a revision on that, the different types of solid. Molecular solid, that is molecule, argon, helium, etc. Next one, polar, that is HCl, sulfur dioxide, NH3, hydrogen bonded, H2O, that is ice. Okay. Next one, ionic solid, that is ion, sodium chloride, magnesium oxide, zinc sulfide, calcium fluoride, etc. Next one, metallic solid, that is iron, copper, silver, magnesium, covalent solid, that is atoms that connected by covalent bonding. Examples are carbon, that is diamond, carbon in graphite. Also the examples are SiO2, silicon dioxide, it also forms a polymeric structure. So, these are the examples and also the classification of crystalline solid. Very important one, here you have to remember it by the name, okay, which one is network solid, but we should not remember it, because in the case of NaCl, KCl, in magnesium oxide, calcium fluoride, these if we follow the bonding pattern, that is the calcium fluoride, then it is under the ionic solid. If in the case of the diamond or graphite or silicon dioxide, it is covalent, and the molecular solid and metallic solid. Metallic solid is very simple, but the types of molecular solid here, as the gases are also under molecular solid, that is NH3, HCl, and also HCl is also there, it is under molecular solid. Okay. Next one, crystal lattice and unit cell, very important. Understood up to this? Total we have to explain. Preeti. Okay, I am giving a quick revision of that. So here we have differentiated the types of crystalline solid. Types of crystalline solid, it is divided into 4 class: molecular solid, ionic solid, covalent solid, network solid. Now before that we have further classified it into 2 types. One, the solid, crystalline solid and amorphous solid. Amorphous solid. Now it is the classification of crystalline solid. Now the molecular solid, ionic solid, covalent or network solid and metallic solid. Molecular solid. So first one, it is non-bond, non-polar molecular solid. So here non-polar, when it would be non-polar, that same kind of atom will be there. What is the difference in between molecular solid and metallic solid? Here they are having no free d electrons or etc., but here having d electron or free electron is there to bonding with the particles or the atom. Next one, that is polar. This is polar molecular solid, that is NH3, SO2, HCl, etc. Now look at this, they are having some electronegativity difference in all of these. So this is called as polar molecular solid. Now third one is hydrogen bonded molecular solid. Hydrogen bonded, so here H2O, and in case of H2O2 these are also called as under the molecular solid. Now ionic solid, suppose 2 ions when connected through some electrostatic forces, for example NaCl, KCl, magnesium oxide, calcium fluoride, etc., when they connected, then it is called as ionic solid. Examples are given: NaCl, KCl, magnesium oxide, calcium fluoride. Third one is covalent or network solid. Here some covalent bonding is there in between the atoms, and the examples are silicon dioxide, graphite, diamond, etc. And also some examples are also there: silicon carbide. These are also the examples of covalent solid. The metallic solid, that is the metallic bonding in between them, that is iron, copper, etc., is the example of metallic solid. Understood? Okay, understood? Next one, crystal lattice and unit cell, very important. Crystal lattice and unit cell. So first we will discuss about the unit cell and then crystal lattice. Crystal lattice and unit cell. So what is unit cell? Now for this, just this is a, you can see the board, just assume one board. Okay, I am drawing here. Suppose this is a board, this is a rectangular square board. This is a square board whose length is A, and I draw here one small square which is in the middle of that, Now if we extend it into 2 dimension, okay, so I am extending in the left and also right, above of that, below of that. Then in the same way, if we extend all the cells, then we will get the square. Okay, the length of this is A dash. Suppose the length of the 2 point is A dash. Then suppose A equal to 50 A dash. This is given. Just assume at 50 A dash. That is, if we place 50 cells left of it, and 50 cells, that is right of it. Okay, 50 cell, that is 25 cell in the left, 25 cell on the right, then we will got the 50 A dash, that is equal to A. So, in that way we can produce one unit cell. So, the unit cell will be the center one. The center one will be called as unit cell. So, in the same way we can extend it into 3 dimension. We can extend it into 3 dimension because all the crystal are of 3 dimension, it is not of 2D. So, when we will extend it into 3 dimension, we will got the overall crystal. Okay. So, the point is crystal lattice and unit cell. So, what is unit cell? The cell which repeats itself and the point is uniform in the overall crystal is called as unit cell, or the cell which repeats itself in 3 dimension to produce the crystal lattice will be called as unit cell. Okay. And what is crystal lattice? The overall arrangement of the crystal point in the crystal is called as crystal lattice. Overall distribution of the crystal point in the crystal is called as crystal lattice. Now, look at your book. The main characteristics of crystalline solid is regular and repeating pattern of constituent particles. So, these in the corner there is the constituent particle. Here the constituent particles are 4. If we extend it into 3 dimension, then it will extend it. For example, suppose extend the cell, then how many point we got here? How many point we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4 was there, and one, two, three, 4 was there. It will extend on this way. Okay. So, how many points? There was only 4 points. Now, we will get extra 1, 2, 3, 4 points, total 8 points. This is the points in 3 dimension. At first it was 2 dimension, then it is 3 dimension. Next, now if the 3 dimensional arrangement of constituent particle in a crystal is represented diagrammatically, in which each particle is depicted as a point, the arrangement is called crystal lattice. Okay. So, the arrangement of these points in 3 dimension is called as crystal lattice, and a portion of crystal lattice is shown in figure 1.5. Just look at the figure 1.5, and the red area is the crystal lattice, because you can see it is a representation of that points in the 3 dimension. There are only 14 possible 3 dimensional lattice. What is the 14 possibilities? Suppose the 14 possibilities are like that. For example, this is one unit area. Now, here the points means the particle. It may be the particle of, in case of metallic. For example, in case of metallic solid, suppose here it is a crystal of silver. Here silver is present. Now, the missing point, if any missing point is there, suppose here no silver is there, it is just a vacant, but here silver is there, here silver is there, here also the silver, all the out of all 8 points, one is void of silver. Okay. So, these voids place do not deform the structure, because it is linked with another one unit cell is side of it. So, the devoid of one silver atom from its position will not deform the crystal structure, because it is linked with collinear unit cell. So, it is natural, that is, it may not be present on this point. Suppose you can see it is for silver. For copper, we can see that this point is missing. So, the missing point, this missing point will be observed in each unit cell. So, this sequence, that is in a unit cell or in a distribution of points in a unit area, when it is absent, then it produces one kind of crystal, and this type of crystal is first abbreviated by Bravais, one scientist, and this for the name of, by the name of this scientist, it is called as Bravais lattice. So, how many Bravais lattice is there? 14 kinds of Bravais lattice is there. He was a French mathematician who first described them. The following are the characteristics of the crystal lattice. Now, look at this. Each point in a lattice is called lattice point or lattice site. So, these points are lattice point or lattice sites. Next, each point in a crystal lattice represents one constituent particle, which may be an atom, a molecule or an ion. In this position, it may be an atom or an ion or a molecule. Number 3, lattice points are joined by straight line to bring out the geometry of lattice. It is joined by straight line to bring out the geometry of the lattice. So, these are the characteristics of the crystal lattice. Okay. Now, the definition of unit cell. What is unit cell? Is the smallest portion of the crystal lattice. So, it is a part of crystal lattice. For example, this area, it is the part of the total crystal lattice. When we will extend it into 3 dimension, if the dimension is the multiple of that unit bond length, then it would be the ultimately gets the overall crystal. So, it dimension along the 3 edges A, B and C. These edges may or may not be mutually perpendicular. Here we have shown it is perpendicular, but sometimes it must not be perpendicular. When it is perpendicular, then the angles in between these, alpha equal to beta equal to gamma, the alpha in between the 3 axes x, y and z. But when they are not perpendicular to each another, that is, this is equal to 90 degree. But when they are not perpendicular to each another, then alpha not equal to beta or beta not equal to gamma or alpha not equal to gamma, etc. And they are not equal to 90 degree. They are not equal to 90 degree. These conditions, when observed in a different kinds of crystal lattice, these are named in different way. We will know the name on the next class. Next one, angle between the edges, alpha, that is between B and C, beta between A and C and gamma between A and B. Thus, a unit cell is characterized by 6 parameters. What are the 6 parameters? That is 3 bond length and 3 bond angle. So, how unit cell is represented? By 6 parameters. So, here you can see these are the crystal lattice. This point 8 lattice point is there, and suppose this point suppose this is the middle point I have taken. This is one axis, this is another one, this is another one axis. So, if we name it, this is B, C and A, then the angle in between these will be, okay, now the B is given the lower one, B, C and A. So, the alpha is this angle, okay, beta is in between A and C, and this is gamma, and the bond length which is A, that is by the line of beta. This is A, this is B and this is C. So, these are the 6 parameters to represent one unit cell. I think you have understood this. What is crystal lattice? Crystal lattice is that overall distribution of the crystal point in 3 dimension. And what is unit cell? Unit cell is the unit of that entire crystal which repeats itself to produce the overall crystal. So, the unit cell will tell you the information that how the lattice points are distributed in crystal. The unit cell also give you the bond angle present on the crystal, and also the unit cell identify the crystal, which kind of crystal is this, which kind of Bravais lattice is this. Okay. So, that is all for today. Next class we will discuss about the primitive cell and centered unit cell. Yes.